it up afterwards and do all of our things, Hey everybody, we're live. We're live. This is so weird. We switched to StreamYard from Zoom and now I have to put makeup on because Zoom does it for you,
Oh, right. So how do you like StreamYard? Because I've been thinking about because I've been using Restream, which is their editor, and I'm just sort of set up on it and comfortable with it, so that's why I'm using it. But I don't know, StreamYard is kind of attractive to me because it seems like it's easier to use, and I kind of like the interface. It's a little bit simpler.
Totally.
What's your experience been with it?
All that. Yeah, we're loving it. Hi, everybody, and welcome. We'll get started in a second. But for now, so full disclosure, StreamYard is our customer, of course.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
But we did choose them, and we like that you can broadcast, I think, Ankit or someone will type in a chat and let me know, but we can broadcast automatically like on a million places.
It would be awesome if you guys had an integration with StreamYard so that it could automatically pull like really shareable clips out of a live session and share them on social with a link back to the restream. That'd be huge. Or with to the live stream, that'd be huge.
Yes, from your lips to God's ears. Christian, are you listening? So we're trying to exactly arrange that kind of thing because, and I know a lot of folks who are here have the same problem. You create a podcast somewhere and then what do you do with it, right? That's the challenge, and this is part of, we're going to talk about the digital pivot today. And I think this is all part of this exact idea is we have in you'll have to define it for me, but I'll do a bad job of it now. There it is. There's this. See this book? How do I share my hands for you?
Doing a pivot. Pivot.
I think you tell me what it means. But first, let me introduce Eric to everybody. Hi, welcome to Lately Live. I'm Kaylee from Lately. My guest is Eric Schwartzman. He's our friend first and foremost, which I feel so proud to say that. And then let me read
you. People, we are genuinely friends.
We are friends
here for the first time.
Yeah, it's so lucky. So Eric is a best-selling author. In addition to his new book, The Digital Pivot, he's got an incredible piece called Social Marketing to the Business Customer. Plus, his accolades are very, very long and large. So he's led digital marketing initiatives for Boeing, Britney Spears, Cirque du Soleil, Johnson & Johnson, the Olympics, the U.S. Department of State, and on and on. He's run promotions at a global PR agency with clients like Dunkin' Donuts, LinkedIn, Verizon. He also has two incredible podcasts. I've been fortunate to be his guest. They are the Earned Media Podcast and the B2B Lead Gen Podcast. And he's been featured in Adweek, Business Leader, Forbes, The Hollywood Reporter, PR Week, and now here at Lately. So,
and I also recently published a piece about the book in Fast Company.
Oh, awesome! I love Fast Company. That's so great. That's huge. So I aspire to be you. I got to write a book. Apparently, it's on my list of things to do. So welcome everybody. Today we're going to be talking about first of all, defining the digital pivot, and then talking about what I think that includes as far as we can go all over the place, but like there's a lot to change, not only with COVID, but with all the tools and software and wonderful things in front of us. How are companies grappling with all these changes? Is it just a matter of software? Is it a matter of embracing AI, for example, which of course is something we're talking about? But let's start first. Like, what's the digital pivot? What is it?
Well, I think there's a ton of confusion still about what digital marketing is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, like when I talk to people about digital marketing, they say, "Oh, you do social media."
Yeah.
Now, clearly, social media is an important tactic of all the different tactics a digital marketer has. But I was looking at research from SimilarWeb on those channels that generate revenue as a percentage. And these were averages in the US for e-commerce, both pre and post pandemic. And, there hasn't been much change for social. If you look at last click attribution, you're doing about 5 to 8% from social. Now, 5 to 8% of, $20 million, that's a significant amount of money.
Yep.
But it still is 5 to 8%. And it's funny because social media punches way above its weight class in terms of the amount of tension it receives from digital marketers. And social and digital marketing is not content marketing, and digital marketing is not SEO, and digital marketing is not lead generation. Those are all pieces of a much larger puzzle. And what the digital pivot is about, it's about how they fit together. And so if you think about the sort of the two areas I think that probably don't get enough attention from digital marketers, it would be analytics.
Sure.
People are confused. I have Google Analytics, but I don't know what to look at. I have Hotjar, but I don't know what to look at. I have Search Console. I don't know what to look at. So, they're unable to read the tea leaves. And then second, I think probably the one area where there's the most opportunity that people don't understand is this area of what they call revenue operations, which is basically the concept that you would have, not all these different software tools used by different people in the company, but one system that's integrated that allows everybody to collaborate in a digital environment. So, the person who markets and the person who sells and the person who ships and the person who services and the person who invoices and the person who, handles payroll are all working in one integrated system. Because what that gives you is velocity. And in the digital age, right, the winner is the person who gets the customer what they want the quickest.
Right.
And it's not just about making it easy for them to buy. It's about making it easy for employees to provide as well. So it has to be as easy on the front end as it is in the back end. HubSpot is a terrific tool that a lot of people talk about for selling to SMBs. But, the thing about HubSpot doesn't have a back end ERP, enterprise resource planning suite. And so if what you want is an end-to-end solution that covers everything from how they buy on the website, where they enter their name, how you nurture that lead, how that flows into your sales pipeline, and how your salespeople can then nurture those leads and try to convert them to customers, how the customer success team keeps them on board, makes them happy, makes them sure they continue to utilize the system, how you bill against milestones, how you handle your payroll, how you handle your bill of materials if you're a manufacturer. All these things happening in a single system are digital business. And of course, the digital marketing stack needs to plug right into it. And that's something I think a lot of marketers don't understand or appreciate. And if you don't, you're in a silo. You can't really do a digital pivot, which is a full circle shift from the old to the new way of doing business. And if you look at those companies that are really kicking ass in this space, it's the ones that have the stack, all the different tools that talk to each other. You even see upstarts coming into the marketplace, disintermediating legacy businesses that have been there for decades by getting between them and their customers because they found a way to make it easy to buy online. Case in point, Fiverr, Upwork, Uber, Grubhub. I mean, these are all instances of businesses, tech brands that show up and disintermediate an entire class of business that wasn't smart enough to get online. And I'll wrap it up. This is what I wrote about in the Fast Company piece, Kate. So there were so many restaurants that were laid bare in the pandemic.
Sure.
What are they going to do? How do these small independent restaurants stay in business? Well, a lot of them, went to Square and they bought Square for Restaurants, which gave them a way. They gave them a terminal, and it also gave them a display system for the kitchen. And it was a way for them to accept orders from Postmates and Grubhub and Uber Eats. And so they started doing that, right? And they stayed alive. And they realized, 9 months down the road, shit, we're paying out 30% off the bottom line on every order. And well, wait a minute, how do we convert these customers into direct customers? Well, we can't, because the terms of service says we can't even try to collect customer information if it comes through Uber or Grubhub. So really, I think what's happening now is small businesses are starting to realize, you know what? I can't rent someone else's audience. I can't sell through Amazon Marketplace and pay 30%. It's not sustainable. I need my own media presence. And that's kind of how I break it down in the digital pivot. There's 4 channels of media: owned media, shared media, earned media, paid media. I think there's a logical sequence for how you implement them. And I think companies are starting to realize you cannot depend on a tech brand for access to their audience, or it's too expensive. So the digital pivot is about becoming self-sufficient and sustainable in the digital age.
So why do you, and thank you, and that all makes so much sense to me, and I can tell others as well. So why do you think, though, that even in the face of COVID, the companies have not made the leap? Like, it's, for example, the co-op down the road for me, which I love, all through COVID, their answer was email us and we will go shopping for you and bring you an order out to your car. But there was no list of what they sold. They have no website. So you had to just remember what was in the store. This is crazy to me, right? And they did this all year long and then opened their doors finally. And I thought, okay, wait a second. I know you guys must do inventory at some point. So there is a digital system. I've seen the barcodes. And you spent a whole year not putting anything in the store online. And it really surprised me because I just thought, like, why not take advantage of this weird situation we're in? And you can see still, to your point, like, some people are just not willing to embrace the pivot.
I don't think that it's that they're not willing. I think it's that they don't know how.
They don't know how.
Because if you think about it, the skills that are required to stock the shelves of a store, to buy products that people will want to buy, make sure that they're in stock, have them on the store, check people out, put them in a bag and send them on their way, are very different than the skills that are required to sell things online. So I come in a lot of times with companies where I'm consulting and trying to help them with their digital pivot. And one of the things we run into a lot is they haven't really thought out how they organize their products online. And this is a subject called taxonomy.
Right.
What is the taxonomy? How are things arranged? So think about it. I'm working with a big hat maker now who has a large website where they sell pretty much every kind of hat. So that's hats for men, hats for women. That's cowboy hats, fedoras, pork pie hats, bucket hats, caps, right? There are many different types of hats. And then there's different materials. There's straw hats, leather hats, felt hats, cotton hats, right? And then there's hats for different occasions. There's hats for weddings, hats for the beach. So there's all these different classifications, right? And if you can't have two categories. There can only be one category, or else you're going to cannibalize yourself online. So really thinking about how all this fits together. I mean, that's digital marketing strategy now, figuring out and doing the research and seeing, what are the terms that people are searching? How can we make sure that we're using popular language instead of the ones that we think are true to our brand? Because that's ridiculous. Right. That was great for advertising. It doesn't work for search. Case in point. So there's this dog toy called a Kong.
Kong, K-O-N-G.
Yeah. Do you have a dog?
No, I have a husband.
Okay. So let me get my dog here. So,
okay, let's see. We're dog friendly though. Lately, we have a lot of lady dogs.
COVID puppy. Hi. So this is Ace. Ace is a COVID puppy. Meaning Ace. I got Ace like a week before the pandemic. So Ace was raised with me, my wife, and my son for the first 18 months of his life every day.
Right.
Never had to be alone. And so now he has hardcore separation anxiety.
Sure, yeah.
When he sees me get my shoes and he starts to freak out. Like he follows me everywhere. Sweetest dog. Love the dog dearly. I'm a little bit too emotionally intimate with the dog. But I do love the dog, and I think he loves me. Anyways, I'm trying to figure out how to help him get over this separation anxiety.
Yep.
So there's this toy that the vet recommended to me called a Kong. And it's basically like, remember Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down?
Of course.
It's like that in terms of shape, but it unscrews. It's got a hole in the bottom, and you fill it with dog food, a combination of wet and dry. Okay. You put it in the freezer, you freeze it, and then you leave that for him. Oh. And then he knocks it around, and as it defrosts, little pieces fall out, and you could probably get a half an hour, 45 minutes out of it, right?
Do they have that for kids? That's amazing.
But they have Kongs for puppies. Okay. They have Kongs for regular dogs. They have Kongs for really, really strong dogs, like with, like,
Yeah.
killer dogs, Dobermans,
Rottweiler. Yeah.
Rottweilers. And then they also have for senior dogs.
Okay.
And then they have 4 different sizes of each one.
It's amazing.
Okay. So there's 4 different levels of toughness of the rubber.
Yeah.
And then there's 4 different sizes. And they're all for different situations, different age, different jowl, right?
Right.
Dude, I challenge you to go on Amazon and buy the right one.
Oh, it's so hard.
You can't do it, man. They haven't even figured that out. I mean, and then,
so they've got all of this stuff, but not
I'm
that.
going to have to go to the freaking dog store today to get one to the pet store because they didn't figure it out. It's hard.
It's hard.
It's hard. So they've got, and then I figured,
Great point.
I'll go to the manufacturer's website. That'll be easy.
Yeah,
No,
yeah, right. I do the same thing.
Their
now.
website sucks too.
It's
like not only can't resellers figure out how to merchandise it online on Amazon, neither can the freaking manufacturer. So I think we are early days. So if you're the type of person, like my mom used to say, I was a really good organizer. Like I was really anal. I would go in my playroom and I'd put all the things in one box and all the things. I'm really good at that. So I'm really good at figuring out taxonomy, but not everybody is. Like, I don't want to say too loud because I don't want her to hear me, but my wife could never do that. Okay? I mean, I literally, the knife is in a different freaking drawer every day. I can never find it when I'm in the kitchen. So now she knows he's going to get mad. Just put his stuff out before he goes in the kitchen. And you won't hear anything. Anyways,
this is why we're friends, by the way.
That's why the co-op, can't get you, gluten-free whatever online because that's not how they think, man.
Well, so what was amazing was like the super low rent farm down the road, they did so they have never been online and they were the first people around here. Better that you couldn't even go to Hannaford's because Hannaford's online was booked for months, right? And so this little super low rent, I was shocked that they did it. And so I think that's what was interesting to me is it is hard, but then somebody just thought, well, what they did, by the way, was not award winning or anything. It was just like, well, let's just take a picture of the peach on the counter. Bing, we sell peaches, So it's interesting to see people who are ready to go and are even willing to try it if they're not perfect. And I appreciate that, by the way.
So I think we're at this time now where it's still possible in a lot of categories to beat incumbents and major brands online.
Yeah, for sure.
In some categories, like
all the furniture
working with. So I recorded my book as an audiobook.
Oh yeah, okay.
And I worked with this really killer studio in LA that produces audiobooks.
Nice.
And they were like, well, they as they heard me reading the book, they were like, oh my God, we've got to hire this guy, right? So if you search audiobook producer, they're number 2 now.
Because they have
That's me, okay?
High five.
If you search Dry White Zinfandel, that's billions of dollars worth of that sold every year.
That's true.
My client's number 1, Now I'm involved with a client now who does a magnetic eyelashes.
Okay.
That's going to be tougher. You haven't heard about that? It's a whole category where you put on an eyeliner that I guess has some magnetic properties, and then it allows you to put a extended, a falsie on. And I think Suni Lee, who won the all-arounds for the women's gymnastics this year, I think she was wearing them. They're pretty popular, and it's a very competitive category.
I need to get so hip. This is amazing.
So I mean, it's not going to be so easy for me to march to page 1 for them on Google,
right.
With my standard SEO tactics. So I'm gonna have to pull a few rabbits out of my hat. I have some ideas for it, but it just depends on how competitive the category is.
So let's talk about it for a second, because I don't want to miss the competitive angle, but I was still thinking about Kong here for a second. So that need to go into the store and actually touch or hold something like a hat maybe or whatever, will that always be there? And do we want it to be there? Like,
well, I hope it'll be there. I really hope it'll be there. And yes, I definitely want it to be there. But I think that in some categories it won't be there. And I think about, I like office supplies.
You do? Like staplers and pens?
I love office supplies. I used to love to like go to Staples. I did. I like office. So I said, oh, I'm going to buy these Post-it notes or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So the way it works now is really Staples is 3 times as expensive as Amazon. But if you need it today, you got to go there. You got no choice. And that's kind of their business. They're sort of, if you need it right away, you can buy it from us.
Here.
But you know what? You're going to pay 3 times as much. And I look also when I drive down the street at all the, mom and pops who've been driven out of business as a result of the pandemic. I don't think all categories are going to survive. Here's an example. I love tennis. I'm a tennis player. And there is no store I can go to try on all the latest different tennis shoes.
Right.
I can only go to Tennis Warehouse
yeah.
or Tennis Express. Those are the only 2 places. I have to order 6 pairs in the freaking mail, try them on, see which one fits. I may even have to get a few sizes.
Yeah. So
I have to basically put out a couple grand.
Yeah.
Right. On my card to get all these. I'm responsible for them and then return them. And, I'm left with an $1,800 credit 30 days later. So it doesn't, but I mean, that's really all there is. There's not, unless you're buying from a major brand, like these major brands like Gap or Banana Republic, which basically have a store at the mall as marketing at this point.
Right.
Even though they sell online as well. And those are the only guys who really have and even them you go, like I like Uniqlo.
Yeah.
Uniqlo. Even them I go there and I often can't find the size t-shirt I need or anything.
You go back online.
Let's go online and buy it.
Yeah. That's that high. I mean, I feel like they're always in like a hybrid, those stores that are doing really well. Like I get that they're happy to reach me in both places and I'm happy to be reached in both places. Andy's the best.
Andy, what's your favorite pen? Because here's mine. All right, let me share my favorite pen. The Pilot G2.
Oh, my husband loves those.
Love these pens. And it lays down a gel and you don't have to press too hard. Yeah, I do like the blue other than the black because I want to see my writing. I don't want it to just blend in. And I don't use red pens because I'm not an asshole. I just use the blue. Just use the blue ones.
You're hilarious. All right. Well, so I do these ones, the Sharpies. These are my favorites.
My wife likes Sharpies.
Yeah,
the problem with the Sharpies, it bleeds right through the freaking paper, man.
It does. Yeah, my tabletop is all ruined here for that reason. But they look pretty in greeting cards, and I send a lot of greeting cards because that's the kind of person I am.
Okay. I never got greeting cards.
Oh, well, after the show.
I mean, now I'm like, oh my God. I better get a fucking greeting card out of this deal.
Shit.
You know my address?
Yeah, Lord, yeah, I do. And the letterpress ones, right? Because I like they're tactile. You can touch them, and they're save worthy. I hope that you'll.
I used to get a bunch of cards. Like I would go to the museum. They always have the great cards in the museum shop.
Yeah,
and I remember I had like this cigar box full of these great cards, and I had so many of them I never used them, and I finally just threw them away.
That's crazy.
Terrible? I should have sent them to somebody.
You should have sent them to me. I have a whole box downstairs.
I'm that. It's all paperless post now, and
oh yeah,
cards are nice though. I do like cards.
Yeah, I mean, there's that. So this is that tactile thing. Like, so we're talking about digital pivot, and I'm curious for there's some smaller business friends that are here as well, and I know that a lot of them kind of struggle between obviously not having the budget and all the tech stack that any of these big companies would have. But
I'm going to stop you right there.
Yeah.
Because you don't need Oracle or Salesforce to have a stack anymore.
Tell me.
They're affordable now. I mean, it's not that expensive. You can backbone a stack with WordPress. It's free. You can pull in, a simple CRM like Zoho, which I think will cost you $30 a month. It also has email marketing. It also has payroll. It also has books. You can put Yoast in there. I think it'll cost you $89 a year for SEO.
You guys
You can
drop
put
this in the chat, will you?
Gravity forms in there for pulling in content, for pulling in registrations. Actually, Zoho has a chat bot, so you can install that. You can also have them sign right up to your email marketing list from your website. So you can build a full stack with off-the-shelf stuff. You don't really even need a developer anymore. This stuff, it can be done. And I covered all in my book. I mean, it's not that hard to get a full stack for a small company, as long as you figure out what you want that stack to do before you build it. That's really the key.
That's the objective, is knowing before what the objective is, really. Because I think that's the, we talked about analytics being a blocker in the beginning, and then also understanding RevOps. But then I think the other blocker that people have is they just buy stuff because people told them to, whether it's HubSpot CRM or whatever it is, but then they don't really know what to do with it when they get there, and they're dead in the water, which we don't want that. So I do want to talk about AI because that's our business. Where does this fall into the digital pivot, and how are you seeing companies fail or succeed with artificial intelligence?
Well, first, I think we need to acknowledge that everybody uses artificial intelligence as the buzzword of the day. It's sort of like a frisbee that we all throw around and expect everyone to get warm and runny and excited over our products.
Guilty.
What really is, artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence would be a computer thinking for us. And so, can computers do that? Well, your product works really well. I've used it. It can analyze long form content, pull out salient, shareable passages based on what my community has responded to in the past, and save me a lot of time. You can get me 80% of the way there. That's great. But I also think a lot of AI tools fail. So, and I'll give you an example. So I was texting
I saw
someone this morning because I own a building downtown and I had the parking lot cleaned for them. And I said, I texted, did you check out the parking lot? Is it clean? And Apple, in its infinite wisdom, changed parking to Peking. Right. It's like, how difficult is it to tell that parking goes with lot and Peking goes with duck?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem that tough. They fucked it up, and they're Apple. So I mean,
right.
And and what we're seeing, particularly in government right now, and in fintech, you're seeing a lot of these companies now look to AI to help process loans, to help approve claims, to help grade tests. Okay. And they're fucking it up. They're getting it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's really tragic because there's nothing you can do. There's no one to talk to. It's all been automated, And so who do you call? I mean, who do you call? The AI compliance department? It doesn't exist. So I think look, and the reason I want to bring this up, Kate, is because I was a social media cheerleader. Like, I remember when social media, I was in PR, and my job was to get people in the press, and social media came around, and I was like, this is awesome. Now I don't have to worry about I don't have to depend on the press anymore. I could just go direct to my audience. Well, I didn't realize that every conspiracy theorist in the world was going to do the same thing, and we weren't going to be able to get herd immunity with COVID. I mean, I didn't do the math on that. So I want to take my excitement for AI with a healthy, grain of salt right now.
Sure.
And realize that I think we are going to live through a difficult period, where AI is figuring it out, where the technology is figuring it out. And I think during that time, loans are going to be denied that shouldn't be denied because they don't conform to the, grading rubric that was programmed into the AI, or, kids who should have gotten a better grade on a standardized test aren't getting that grade. And, some people who are applying for food stamps aren't going to get food stamps. So that's sort of the dirty underbelly of AI that no one likes to talk about, At the same time, these tools, they're not going to stop. It's all happening. It's all moving forward. And it's all about doing more with less. So that's what a end-to-end solution does. And the more you can automate, the more you can focus on human interactions, the less you have to deal with, the minutia and admin of managing tech. So I think it's the genie's out of the bottle. It ain't coming back in. It's going to change everything for us, but it's not perfect yet. There's 2 new books that I just read about this. Cade Metz from the New York Times has a book out about AI, which was sort of about the history of AI. And then Kevin Roos has a book that's a little bit easier to read, and it's sort of more about the trends that are affecting tech, and it deals with AI as well. And I think one thing that comes through in both of those books, loud and clear, sort of 2 lessons. The first lesson is there's no data like more data. So the more data that an algorithm has to consult, the more likely the ways and means shift off into the periphery and you get good information.
Yeah.
Right. But also, we may never get to what's called general AI. And general AI is artificial intelligence that would be as good as communicating as you and I here. And
right.
if you were communicating with general AI, you would not be able to tell the difference between the computer and the person. And both of those books, the jury's still out on that. We really don't know if we'll ever get there. I don't think we'll ever stop trying. And I do think, AI has tremendous value for us as marketers, but I think on a human level, and that's one of the reasons we connected, Kate, is because when you talk to me as a human being, and that's why I enjoy connecting with you so much. It's not just about business. You bring humanity to the table, and I think it's possible that computers are never going to be able to bring that humanity.
And the knowing to read the room, like this is something we talk about a lot as marketers, and how difficult that is for even very professional marketers in reading the different kinds of rooms, whether it's this kind, kind of.
Well, this is impossible because we can't see the room.
Right. It's well, but you can feel it though, right? I mean, this is what I did in radio. I talked to nobody for years, and
How do you feel it? How does that work?
There's just some energy, and I don't know if it's narcissistic, which is possible, right? Certainly with music in the airwaves, so to speak, there is an energy that's already being created. Like there's a mood that you're setting, which is the deal with radio. We have now the third voice of Twitter, if there's a Twitter chat, right? Or we have here the comments that are coming in time delay, which I know that I can't comment back on for whatever reason. So there's that kind of stuff. But I think it's also the vibe between me and you. Like, you are exciting me in this conversation. You're the king of one-liners. There's been a million of them, whether it's something personal about you, showing the dog, the pen, like you are a professional speaker, and you know how to, like I do, how to lure people in with those behind the scenes little nuggets as you're giving the information out, right? And the way that I'm responding to you, it's contagious to our listeners, viewers, whatever, right?
So let me share something with you.
Okay, please. And we're running late, guys, but we're
last thing here. So Ty Roberts, who is the CTO for Tidal.
T.Y. Roberts?
TIDIL is
okay, yeah, Tidal.
Jay-Z's music thing that Twitter bought.
Yep.
He's a buddy of mine, and he launched a company called Fantrax Digital LLC. And what they do is they do live, you subscribe, and they produce live concerts where the artist is playing in a studio, but you get the concert on your computer. And what he does in the studio is he rigs up the stage with all these large screen monitors and shows, I mean, if you want to turn on your camera, you can. He shows them each of the fans. And he also plays back the sounds from the fans. So there's like no, it's not the sound from he has an algorithm that, based on their engagement, creates a simulated roar of the fans based on engagement. So
Amazing.
he actually is bringing that feedback into the equation, which is
Yeah.
so cool. And I know that during the pandemic, I heard there were a lot of realtors who were doing like showings of spaces digitally where they'd be in the space and the client would be online.
Oh, wow.
I even, I keynoted a conference in Vegas end of May, and half of the speakers were piped in from overseas on the screen. So it's like this hybrid, here then there, sort of bringing it back and getting the feedback is starting to become part of it as well. So that what you felt as a DJ, whether narcissistic or not, that may actually disappear. We may actually be able to see our audience moving forward.
I mean, I'm excited by that because for a lot of reasons, but I also, I'm one of those people where I have half a foot still in analog, and I love the theater of the mind, and I love the human intervention, right? So I keep kind of pulling us down here, and I like the idea of the mystery, because the mystery is part of the magic, and there seems like there's more room to fuck up, which I think you should. You know what I mean?
Well, in terms of physical, I still prefer a hard copy of a book.
Yeah, me too.
So if you want the digital pivot, which is my 20 years of experience in a single book, this is a digital marketing MBA in a single title. It's not a software manual. I got a few jokes in there. There's some interesting stories from my past. So this is really meant for a general business reader who wants to understand digital marketing in a single book without reading a freaking library. So you can buy it on Amazon if you want a hard copy like I prefer, or if you'd like a digital copy, you can get a free one at freepivotbook.com. And I'll ask you guys not to put that on screen. It's only for the people who are here watching. If you go to freepivotbook.com, you can download a free copy of the book. And if you want to buy it at a Kindle or something like that, you can do or audiobook. You can do that at Audible or Amazon.
Awesome. That's amazing. Thank you for that gift. So thank you, everybody. I hope you're going to get that right now. I'm going to buy some for my team because that's what I usually do. And then I quiz us all. We have a quiz on the book and then they get mad at me.
You know what? For those people who, I think I might have made a mistake in the book.
You made a mistake.
I might have. So I decided to cover everything in the order of importance. So I started with an overview, then I went into data-driven marketing, then I went to stacks, automation, and funnels.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people stop in stacks and automations and funnels because they figure this is too hard for me. It ain't too hard for you.
Yeah.
You need to know about end-to-end solutions.
Yeah.
It's a freaking chapter, people. It's not a library, okay? And it starts off, I think it's actually pretty funny.
You have the story right up front.
Digital stacks to the difficulty of watching television nowadays.
Too
How
many
many
choices?
clickers do you have?
Oh yeah, 4
How
or
many
5.
and how many different settings do you have to watch TV? It's like, damn.
Who calls it the clicker?
Like
Still.
technology, I mean, you gotta have everything interoperable. It's all got to be working together.
Yeah, it's so true. Well, so power through that, and on that note, so Lauren and who you know very well, and I actually just spent the summer educating ourselves on accounting and other things that was not our specialty, and really we hadn't done it before because we were just afraid of it, frankly, and we did it, and it feels so empowering, and it's something that obviously anybody needs to know, but so you guys can get through the stack of chapter. We have to go, which I hate because I love when we get together, and I hope that you guys have enjoyed Eric as much as I do. See, he's amazing. He sparkles right through that screen, Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today and making me laugh.
Thanks for having me. It was fun.
All right, guys, we'll see you next time.